So for the past week, a terrified and corrupt British MSM has been trying to paint the picture that if you want to vote for Nigel Farage or Reform UK on Thursday, then you must be a racist. And a xenophobic and a Islamophobic and a homophobic too. So how on earth do they deal with this? Today, there was a massive Reform UK rally at the NEC in Birmingham. 5,000 people showed up. I think actually it could have been filled 3 or 4 times over, but it was a ticketed event. By far the most enthusiasm and most numbers that we've seen from any party through this entire election campaign. And the real standout star was a man called Zia Yusuf. Now, he is a former Tory who has just donated hundreds of thousands of pounds to Reform UK. But here's what's interesting. Zia Yusuf is a Muslim whose parents were immigrants who came to the UK in the 1980s. Yet he believes British culture is being torn apart.
So nobody knows better than I the contribution that immigrants can make to Britain. However, when my parents emigrated here in the 1980s, annual net migration to Britain was around 50,000. This meant public services were not overstretched and new arrivals could assimilate comfortably. Last year, that number was 650,000. We have lost control of our borders. We have no coherent immigration policy. And this is impacting all British people, regardless of their race or religion. And there are real consequences to this. To our young people, I say you are being betrayed. You are being robbed of a fair opportunity.
Now, I'm going to predict right now that you have just witnessed one of the stars of British politics for the next 10 years. There are, I think, some parallels there between Obama's emergence at the Democratic National Convention, I think it was in 2004, and of course between him and Jordan Bardella, the 28-year-old who is about to become Prime Minister of France under Marine Le Pen. And Zia Yusuf is just 37 years old. Nigel Farage says he could be the next generation. He could actually be his successor. But Nigel wasn't lying down at this rally today either, issuing a furious call against Channel 4 for setting the party up, he believes, with this actor Andrew Parker.
The Channel 4 story was a put-up job. It really is frankly gross that insult should be directed at all of you and all of our millions of voters. It is simply untrue. But I have to say, the bad apples are gone. We'll never have them back. And Channel 4, listen to this. YouGov polling published this morning. Reform UK is now polling higher with British ethnic minorities than the Liberal Democrats.
And there was another moment, actually, that I thought was really important. Have you noticed that none of the British political parties want to talk about the damage of lockdown and how that actually is what led to the social catastrophe and the economic catastrophe that we are currently experiencing? So massive kudos to Nigel for this moment today.
And what is it that's really hurt the family? Well, part of it, I think, is the psychological damage that was done to us through repeated lockdowns. And there is no conversation about lockdowns, no conversation about mask mandates, no conversation about the fact they even wanted to vaccinate our young kids. No conversation, no debate because Labour and the Conservatives both agree.
This was an amazing event in Birmingham. Thousands and thousands of people. I've spoken to people there who say there was a great family atmosphere, everyone getting on, and actual enthusiasm, which is something that I don't think you can connect at the moment to Labour or the Conservatives or the Liberal Democrats. And I want to end with this little moment from my good friend Anne Widdecombe, former Conservative minister, former Tory Shadow Home Secretary, who is now a big backer of Reform UK, but was warning against the dangers of a slippery Starmer premiership.
Where is the sense in having a Prime Minister, as we will in 4 days' time, who doesn't actually know what a woman is?